So let's get started with our Zoom tonight. First off, I just want to say thank you to those of you who have joined us. We are happy to have you with us this evening. My name is Jill Yates. I'm an undergraduate recruiter at Western, and I'm going to be getting us started here today before we have a presentation from Beth. So I just want to start by saying a few important words. So as treaty people at Western, we are very grateful to be able to live, to work, and to play on this land. Western's campus is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabeg, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenape, and the Chinungtung nations of southwestern Ontario. So we respect this long-standing relationship that as a public institution we have with these lands, and we acknowledge First Nations as the original caretakers. So once again, thank you all for being here with us tonight. Let's go through a few housekeeping items together here first. So first and foremost, this session will be recorded and it will be available on our website in the next few days. So you'll be able to find it on the same page that you went to register for this event, which is just welcome.uwo.ca/presentations. Next, live closed captioning is enabled for this webinar tonight. So if you'd like to turn it on, you can find live transcript button that's just in the bottom bar, and then you can choose show subtitle or view full transcript. But just remember that it is live closed captioning, so we can't guarantee the accuracy, but the software will try its best. Next up, your video and your audio will remain off for today. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be interacting together. We're going to have a few polls throughout the presentation, and then we're also going to be here to answer your questions. So you can submit a question directly to us using the Q&A box that you'll find in the bottom bar of your screen. You can enter these questions now or at any time during the presentation, and myself or one of my colleagues will be typing our answers back to you. We'll also answer a few of the most common questions we receive live at the end of the webinar. But one tip about your questions, just be as specific as possible in order to get the best answer. So now you're probably wondering, what are we going to cover in tonight's webinar? So today we're going to have a presentation from Beth, who works over at Housing at Western, and she's going to tell us everything that we need to know about living in residence. As well, we're going to have a student panel at the end, where I'm going to be asking one of our students, Sam, lots of questions about residence, and she'll give you her honest answers. And then we're going to wrap up today by answering all of those questions in the chat. So if you still have questions at the end, feel free to put them in the chat and we will get to them. And we hope that you can join us for the entire presentation tonight. But once again, a recording will be available on our website after the fact if you do need to leave early. And then make sure you sign up for any of the other upcoming events coming this spring, making sure you're staying on top of your deadlines as we enter the summer. You can find all of this information on welcome.uwo.ca, or if you're specifically looking for presentations, find that presentation site. So before we get into our presentation from Beth, we're going to do a quick poll here. So in this poll, it's going to ask you, where are you joining us from tonight? So I'm just going to launch that here. You'll see that pop up in your screen. So if you just want to put in your answer there, where are you joining us from? Looks like most of us are coming from somewhere else in Ontario. A few of us from outside of Canada. Oh, one of us is from London. A few from outside of Canada. But it looks like majority of us tonight are somewhere else in Ontario. Amazing. Thank you everybody for answering that poll for us. And then one more poll before we get started. This one is always a fun one. So this is just going to ask you, let's see here, let's see if we can get this launched. This is going to ask you who you're watching with tonight. Let's see here. Here we go. So that's launched now. So are you watching today by yourself? Are you maybe with one of your parents or a guardian? Do you have a sibling? Or maybe you're like me and you've got your cat sitting on the chair beside you watching. It's always fun to know who people are joining since we can't see each other. This gives us a little insight onto who we're speaking with tonight. So it looks like most of us are here by ourselves, a few with parents. Looks like 5 of us have their furry friends with them. That's awesome. Thank you everybody for participating in that. Okay, so before we get into the presentation from Beth officially, I'm just going to share a quick video here to get everybody excited about residence. So here we go. that was just a little video to get everyone excited about residence and what living in residence could look like. So I will now pass it over to Beth, and she will get ready with the presentation.
Hello, hello, friends. So lovely to see you today. My name is Beth, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. I am one of the residence area managers here on campus. So here at Western, I supervise a number of our professional folks who support our students here in our residences. And so I'm really, really excited to chat with you about residence here at Western. I don't know about you, but that video, whenever I see it, I always get really, really excited because it is really just such a special experience to get to live in residence. We'll talk all about that tonight. Um, so I am going to kick us off. Let's kind of talk about just residences generally here at Western. So this is a lovely map that's been put together. On our campus, we have 12 residences and we have 3 different layout styles. They're, as you'll see in the map, they're kind of just around the periphery of our campus. And so each of our residences on campus are about a 10 to 15-minute walk to the heart of our campus, which is our University Community Center, or affectionately known as our UCC. So it is quite a large campus that we operate on, but it's nice to have our campus be surrounded by our residences, which is our homes that are on campus. We're really proud of our residence community with over 80% of our first year students getting to live on campus with us. And so this is a really important part of the Western experience for most of our incoming students. And so we really value the notion of getting this right. Residence here at Western is some of the best in the country, and we do like to humbly brag. The Globe and Mail has rated our campus the #1 residence for 11 consecutive years, which is like quite the flex that we wear pride with when it comes to that. And then we also have been ranked our #1 institution for the medical and doctoral category for 7 years in a row now. So now that we've got the bragging over, um, let's talk a little bit about our buildings. So you'll see we are situated and split into neighborhoods on campus, and no matter which building that you decide to live in, we've got a variety for different layouts, lifestyles, all with similar amenities. So no matter what one you're in, you will be a part of our community. And you'll get to experience, a lot of our unique traditions that have grown over many years here at Western. So we guarantee residence for all of our incoming first year students if you are not married, coming directly from high school and receive a full-time admission offer by mid-May. So very exciting. We firmly believe that our residences are an integral part of the student experience. And we see that this guarantee is a commitment to be able to provide the best environment possible for our students to live, learn, and flourish here at Western. So for our students here and our scholarship recipients for Western who are coming on the National Scholarship Program, we are guaranteeing your first choice of residence building in a single accommodation with your first and your second year. And so that's something that we'll kind of talk about a little bit more. But we're really, really excited to have you here on campus. And I hope that throughout this presentation that I can really get that across to you, that I think that the residence experience is really beneficial. I would say integral, but I'm a little bit biased because it was integral to my university experience. So we want to just recognize here in residence, like what's the reason, what's the importance behind it. It's more than just an place for you to eat and for you to sleep. It really is an unforgettable experience. And so what matters, we feel like, is the memories that you make, the friends in the community that you have a chance to be a part of, the access to the incredible events, which I'm sure you would have seen in the video, and hopefully you'll get more of an opportunity to kind of take in some of those events through our socials. As well as the supports that we offer in residence. And we'll talk about what our staffing looks like and what our built-in supports are in just a little bit. And so all of these things are designed to make your transition into university as seamless as possible. So we value an environment where individual differences and diversities of backgrounds and lived experiences are not only understood and accepted, but appreciated and celebrated as well. And so we also want to recognize that not only is living in residence an academic advantage, so you have the opportunity to have access to academics resources and supports to help you throughout the year. We'll talk a little bit about living learning communities in a second, and those are really, really great. As well as being able to, we want to support you with building a meaningful out of the classroom experience. So this is through, programs, opportunities to engage in residence, being social in both your academic and your life outside of the classroom here at Western. And obviously, all of this is going to take place in a place that is safe and attractive and well maintained to be able to provide you some of that peace of mind. So, yeah, close to campus, in classes, easy dining, focus on safety. We're going to talk about all of these things in detail. So let's break down some of the residence styles that we have here at Western. I always like to start off with our traditional residence style. So when you think about your like quintessential coming of age, college movie, that's typically what's depicted. So that's our dorm style. Here on campus, Delaware Hall, Medway Sydenham Hall, and Sauget Maitland Hall are all of our traditional residence buildings. And so they are a combination of single rooms, but mostly double rooms here, where you not only get the opportunity to cohabitate and live with other people, but we also want to explore and help you develop some of those like learning strategies of being able to like share and cohabitate with another human. So very exciting stuff. The next thing that we're going to talk about is suite style. So our suite style residence is more like an apartment. So you'll have a number of students living in a suite or an apartment where all of them will get their own bedroom, and then there is a shared common room, shared bathroom facilities, and shared kitchens. So here on campus, that would be Alumni House, Elgin Hall, Essex Hall, Lambton Hall, and London Hall. And so these are all single rooms, and it's depending on the building, it is a combination of 2, 3, or 4 bedroom suites. And so I like to get those two out of the way so then I can kind of explain what then our hybrid style residence is. So our hybrid style are mostly double rooms with a few singles. But the difference here is you're often cohabitating or sharing in a space with a roommate. But you will have some kind of private amenities provided to you through that space. So it's typically a bathroom that you will have a room that you'll share with another human, but you have more of a private washroom as opposed to our dorm style where those would be common washrooms shared amongst the floor. So here on campus, that would be Bayfield, Clare Hall, Ontario Hall, and Perth Hall. Okay, so let's talk about some fun amenities that are provided no matter what residence style that you're in across campus. So some of the important ones, we do have 24-hour front desk access. So we'll talk about safety and security in a little bit. But that's really to give you that peace of mind that should something come up any time of day, we do have staff that are here to support you in our buildings. Another really important thing is making sure that you've got all of the stuff that you need in terms of furniture. So all of our spaces come fully furnished. So we've got your bed, your dresser, bedside tables, things like that. So you don't have to worry about lugging furniture to campus, which I recognize a lot. We have a lot of like local or Ontario students here on the call, but for folks who are coming from further away, you don't have to worry about dragging stuff with you. All of our residence buildings have study rooms or floor lounges. So these are really great spaces where students can come to congregate, meet other students, hang out, study. A lot of times programs will be facilitated there, so participate in fun things happening in our buildings. We also have free internet. So I recognize in the age of the internet, that's important to a lot of folks is good internet connection. So not only will this be able to support you with your classes, but I know everybody and their brother loves TikTok. You'll be able to scroll TikTok as well. Um, and so internet and all of the utilities I should mention are also all included in your fees. So you're not paying extra for internet when you're here with us. It's included in what you would pay in your residence fees. All of our buildings have workout rooms. So, one thing that's really important to the transition of residents and that experience is, building healthy habits. So you will have facilities here in our buildings to be able to support with. As well as, with the exception of Clare Hall, all of our buildings have music practice spaces. So whether that's the faculty that you're going into or that's something really important to you, you will have the opportunity to utilize those spaces. And then everybody needs clean clothes. And so we make sure that laundry is included in the facilities and the amenities that we provide for students. I think another really important thing about residents is the food. It's important. People love food. Food brings people together. And so in terms of our dining experience, we have 8 different residence dining halls across campus. Our menus are designed by chefs and our registered dietitian who works in-house with us. And there is a multi-week rotation for those. So dining in residence has never been easier. We offer, flexibility and opportunity for food in each of our buildings. With the rotation of our food, things don't get boring. There's always something new, whether it is, deli options, fresh hot entree options, sushi, grab and goes. We have interactive stations that rotate throughout our buildings, as well as you will find themed dinners in our dining halls. So those are really exciting to look forward to. I had mentioned a registered dietitian. And so that's a person who works on our team. And so if you are someone who has allergies, dietary restrictions, or requirements, that's someone that you can meet with, and they can help you when it comes to the assistance of meal planning. Throughout the year, if you have any support required or the things that you would like to chat about, these are folks that you can reach out to. Our dining staff would love to hear from you. And we are hopefully being able, like our job, we would love to be able to support you with informed choices through the use of nutritional symbols, as well as being able to identify different allergens in all of our foods. So our hospitality team is really, really dedicated to making sure that the transition from, pre-university into our system, that you are feeling supported when it comes to the good food that you're eating on our campus. So there we go. So just some of the wide range of food options that we have here with us. So another really important question is, great, I'd love to eat. How do I do that? So we have a meal plan here on campus. It is mandatory for our students in most of our residences, with the exception of Bayfield and Lambton Halls. Your Western One card, so that's your student card, is also your meal plan card. It's your student ID card. It's your bus pass. It's your library card. It's kind of your key to everything. So if you're gonna make sure that you're not losing one card, that's the card that you want to make sure you're holding on to. At the beginning of the year, when you join us, this card is going to automatically be loaded with your meal plan. And it works on a declining balance system. So as you swipe it or tap it, that's how the money is coming off of it, depending on what you're getting at the dining hall. You'll have the flexibility to select whatever items suit your needs or that you're feeling like eating. And then you go to pay. So like I said, with the swipe of your card, the total cost of the items will come off of that. In our residence dining, most of the meals are charged based on an overall weight of your plate, which allows you to have control over how much you're paying for each of your meals. Within our residence meal plan, when you're on campus for classes or social events, we also have over 20 eateries that are central to campus that you can also use your meal plan at, as well as we have partner locations in different businesses throughout the London community. So there really is no shortage in places that you can go and use your meal plan to be able to get you delicious food. And then, okay, say we get to the end of the year and you've got some money left over. What do I do now? Not a problem. it automatically will carry over into a campus meal plan. So it'll become from a residence meal plan into a campus meal plan. And then you can continue to use it throughout your time here with us. And there's always the option to top up your meal plan digitally online with a few clicks of a button. So yeah, here are just some of the campus eateries that we have on campus. So whether you're looking for a coffee, a good sandwich, some bubble tea, we've got you covered, as well as we've got lots of vending machines on campus and in residences for when you've got that, desire for a late night snack, we've got you covered. And then those are a few of our off-campus options. So I promised that we would talk about safety and security, and I think that that is, for a lot of folks, some of the most important things when it comes to discussing housing and where you're going to be living. So safety is our number one priority here in residence. And we go to great lengths to be able to provide a safe environment for folks. So every residence is going to have a front desk that's only a call away. We also have resident staff members that live on every floor to support you, as well as some guest registration staff that work on our weekends to make sure that they are monitoring who's coming in and out of the building. So the bottom line is someone is always available to help. And I think that that's really important when something happens and you don't know where to turn. There will always be someone on site to be able to support. We want Western to feel like your new home. And so this means that you and the parents who are on the call, this means that we are making sure that you are feeling safe and secure. And so we'll talk in more detail about the number of resources and housing as well as across campus. But just some things that I wanted to highlight additionally were our Western Special Constable Service. So that is like our on-site support for security. Our student emergency response team. So these are our student-led team of medical folks that often will come and support students in need. Foot Patrol, which is a great service that will help walk students to and from buildings at night to provide that extra sense of security should they wish, as well as emergency phones that are very clearly labeled and are located across campus. So let's talk a little bit about support in residence. So in residence, we have two kinds of supports. We have our student leaders and we have our professional staff. So our Dons are our student leaders who live in our buildings. There is at least one of them on every floor. There to help you, with your transition to university. As well as our education advisors. So they help all things education related, as well as our SOPs or our residence orientation leaders. So they're the ones that you would have seen in the video with the fun outfits and lots of energy. And should you be on our campus moving in August, you absolutely will not be able to miss them because their energy is infectious and you'll be able to point them out in the crowd. But so they are folks that will help plan programs, offer resources, provide support, build community throughout the year, as well as our residence councils, which are first year student leaders that are able to provide support and programming and engaging events and advocacy throughout the year. And so just a little promo for folks. As a Western student, you'll have numerous opportunities to attend events and to grow outside of the classroom. And so residence really offers you that opportunity to engage in additional spaces to be able to, grow as a new adult in a way where, it's very convenient because it's housed right out of where you live. So our student leaders will often plan fun and educational events for you to meet with others, de-stress, learn outside lessons that are not just within your classroom time. And so just a few things, we would have seen therapy dogs in the video. We will often do wellness carnivals, paint nights, magic shows, bonfires. We love an inflatable bouncy castle here on campus. So there's always at least one every year that you'll find, as well as flag football and many other leagues and tournaments and things to get engaged with. So that is from a student leader perspective. We also have professionals who live in residence. So we have residence life coordinators who are live-in professionals. Your buildings are their buildings. That is where their home is. So they supervise our dons and provide support in higher levels of need. We also have a safety team, and we will talk a little bit about the safety team. Actually, no, we will talk about it now. Amazing. So our resident safety team, we're one of just a handful of schools in the country that has an after hours team of professional staff to be able to do rounds, make sure that everyone is safe and, provide support on site in the hours where our professional staff are not in office. So when I was speaking about there's always someone in and around to be able to provide support. Our safety coordinators and their team of safety assistants can often be found. As well as, like I said, we have front desk staff. So should anything happen, you can either pick up the phone and call the front desk, or there are folks who are in and around our buildings providing on-site support at all times. So I mentioned earlier about living learning communities, or they'll often be referred to as LLCs. These are specifically themed floors in our buildings, where students that either have, the same faculty or program or interest can come together and live in one community. So these floors give you an enriched learning environment, as well as some academic integration, personal development, and community engagement. And all of this is at no additional cost. Um, and so LLCs offer student additional benefits, like an easy way to meet peers and to share with your same interests or academic goals. Easier access to study groups and social events, as they're often run within the floor or the community, and programs and events that are tailored to fit your needs, your goals, and your interests. And so we have lots of information on our website about living learning communities. And so if this is something that's of interest to you, I would highly recommend checking out our website, as well as if that is something that you decide that is right up your alley, you can select your preference to live on an LLC or a living learning community when you fill out your residence placement questionnaire. So, okay, we're coming to residence. We're here. Do I live with a roommate? Do I not live with a roommate? It's a really great question. So in terms of our roommate matching, we do have a few options in ways that we do that. So the first one is two friends can choose to live together. So if you have a bestie from high school who is also coming to Western, that's really exciting. You both receive your offers and you pay your fees on time. You can rank your building preferences the same way. And so you want to be aligned on those. And then you will select each other as roommates. And if so, that's great. That's amazing. That's probably the most straightforward one. But you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't have a friend who's coming to Western, but I really, really want that roommate experience. No worries. We have the opportunity to match you with someone that we feel would be a good suit for you. So when you fill out your residence placement questionnaire, you will fill out a whole survey on your lifestyle preferences. And so this is less of your preferences in terms of like, are you team, ASAP or team Drake? Like maybe less about your music interests. But we really want to get to know you. Things like, are you a night owl? Are you an early riser? Do you like a nice warm space? Are you more of like, I like to bundle up and I keep my space a little bit cool? Do you like lots of friends coming over on the weekends? Like things like that. And so all of our folks who are looking to have roommates will fill this out. And then we do try to match you with someone who is a high level of compatibility based on your responses in the residence placement questionnaire. So really, really cool technology, and that's really exciting. I will say that over the years, we have received many compliments about our roommate matching process. We do feel like it is quite comprehensive. And I know even personally, I've had lots of friends that have met and created really great friendships with their roommates that they had. So very, very exciting stuff if that's something that sounds interesting to you. And so you're like, what's next? What are the next steps? I'm really excited about residence. a few things that we need you to do. So first and foremost, you need to accept your residence offer. And so you do so by logging in, and you can do that on the My Housing website. It's there on the screen for you. Once you've done that, you will complete the residence placement questionnaire. And step 3, you will submit the $900 prepayment using a credit card. So that tells us like, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm ready to move. I'm going to be ready to move in. Western is my place. So that's going to be the next thing that you will do. You will then be asked to rank your residence buildings in the order that you prefer. Your profile will be assigned a randomly generated number. And so when your number is pulled from our system, you will get your first ranked building of choice. As long as that building is not already at capacity, then we'll kind of go down your list in order of your rankings. And we will work down the list depending on the number that you're called. And so in the summer, we then will send out a message notifying you what building you were placed in so that you can prepare to pack, pay your fees, and then join us in residence. And the deadline this year is June the 4th. So it is fast approaching. So we're so glad that you're here and being able to hopefully get some last minute questions answered because that deadline is quite fast approaching. Folks always like to ask, okay, so this is all great and well, let's talk about the cost. So the rates on the table are the current, actually, no, it looks like they are the upcoming numbers. And so important information to keep in mind. We understand that this is an investment and it is important. So we provide as much as we can a variety of options for our students to live in residence and to be able to have a residence experience that suits their individual needs. Oftentimes folks will ask me during recruitment days, Beth, like, what is the best building or what would you choose? It's really hard for me to answer that question because I think that there's a lot of things that go into it. The reasons why some folks might rank certain buildings as their top choice is really a personal, I guess, determination of what they value. So some folks, it's proximity to their classes and the buildings that a lot of their classes would be in. For some folks, it's having the most privacy. For others, it's the lowest price point. And all of these, options are valid. And for some folks, it might even be because, mom, dad, or guardian went to Western and they lived in a particular building and you want to have that legacy. And so what I'm really trying to say here is the building that you choose is a very personal preference. I can assure you that no matter what building that you live in, you will have access to the same amenities, supports, and services and experience, and really the experience is what you make of it. So I think one thing that I always like to leave folks with is the notion just that I think with this experience, the more that you can get involved and to make the most of the time that you have here with us, the better your opportunity and your experience here in residence is going to be. And I think if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you're like, I don't even know how to get involved, just know that our team is always here to help support you through that. So if you, obviously you'll have questions that you can ask us. But if at the end of today you were like, oh shoot, I should have asked this question and I totally forgot, this is how you can get in touch with us. So residence.uwo.ca is our website. You can email us at housing@uwo.ca, and you can find us on our socials with the handles below. So that is all I have for today, folks. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. And we are really looking forward to get into some questions. I'll pass it back to Jill.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Beth. I always love that presentation. I think it gives you all of the information that you could ever ask for when it comes to residence, as well as really gets you excited about living in residence. I lived in residence at Western for 2 years as a student, and they were some of the best times of my life. So I always love that presentation. So next, I'm just going to launch our last poll of the evening. So this one is going to ask you, what are you most excited about when it comes to residence? Are you most excited about making new friends, eating in the dining halls, maybe walking to your classes, or maybe it's like joining those social events on the floor? Or maybe it's all of the above because every single thing that I just mentioned is so exciting and it's completely understandable to be excited about all of it. It looks like most of us are excited for all of those things, which I absolutely appreciate. Okay, so now I'd like to invite Sam to join us. So Sam is one of our student ambassadors tonight. She's a current Western student, and we're just going to go through some of the most common questions that we received tonight, and Sam's going to give us her answer on how she would answer those. So first and foremost, let's get right into it. So the first question that we got this evening is, what was the best part about living in residence for you?
Yeah, the best part about residence for me was even in the moment, I sort of acknowledged that there was never going to be an experience like this. It's such a unique thing. It's such a place saturated with constant community. You're always going to find people in the lounge. You're always going to see people willing to form a study group with you, people willing to go on a walk, events going on in the dining hall. It's just such a social environment, and the friendships that you make there are so long lasting and so fulfilling. Uh, Clearly, I love it because I'm going into my fourth year in residence. So it is such an extraordinary experience for just that constant community.
Awesome. Wonderful. This next one kind of touches on what you were just talking about, but it goes a little bit more into detail. So, how did you make friends in residence, or do you have any tips that you would give incoming students on how you can make those friends?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I often bring this up to my first year residents as a Dawn. I always tell the story. On my very first night in residence, I went over, talked to my suite mate. We were just introducing ourselves. I opened the door of my room. I see two other students walking by. We all introduce ourselves, and that night we go for a walk around campus. And to this day, those are some of my three closest friends, made on the very first day. And so the reason I kind of bring up that story is because just as I mentioned, residence is like a totally unique environment. It's kind of a very unique social environment too, because like I probably most compare it to kindergarten because everybody is just so willing to make friends. Like you're going to go up to people and talk to them, and they're going to be extremely receptive to that. It's such a great place for that. Oh, week. I fully encourage you to go to all the events you can, not only to make people like your Dawn really happy and your socks really happy, but because people are so willing to engage, people are so enthusiastic. Go up to them, partake in the events, and you're going to find that, social connections are just forming all around you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those experiences where everyone you meet in that first week is in the same boat as you. They are all looking to make friends, even though some might seem more confident than others. Everyone is looking to make a friend, so everyone's in the same boat. So it's a really great opportunity to put yourself out there and try some new things. Awesome. So on to our next question here, and this is a good one. So it's asking how you found the food options in dining halls, what your favorite thing in the dining hall is.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone who knows me knows I'm like the biggest advocate of the dining hall. I am such a fan of it. Clearly, I love it. I'll be eating it for 4 years, and it still holds its charm to this day. As mentioned in the presentation, Western's food is top notch. Like it's so incredible. If you're in a circumstance where you're not feeling the food they're offering on the menu that night, there's, sandwich bar, and you can go make whatever sandwich you're feeling. There's salad bar. Um, I lived at Clare Hall, and we had personal pizzas that could be made. And as mentioned, there's just so many eatery partners too. Like you can head over to Eastside Mario's. You can go to the Spoke right on campus. I really found myself never in a state of food exhaustion at all, just because of the variety that was offered. So, my personal feedback is be excited for the food because I have really been enjoying it.
Yep, I second all of that. I remember the day I had to move out of residence and I moved into my student house. I missed the cafeteria every day for that
I'm
year.
missing it right now. I'm missing it
Yeah,
right
it took a while to transition out of it because it was so handy and it was so good and ever changing and it was wonderful.
now.
Okay, so the next question here, this one is about the bathroom situation and if you had experiences sharing the bathroom in any of the residence building you've lived in, how was that experience?
Yeah, I definitely did share a bathroom. I kind of mentioned my suite mate a bit earlier. Me and her shared that bathroom together, and the experience was really great. And I think it's also a really important experience for a student, especially one planning to, live in a house next year, because eventually you're going to be in a position where you're not only sharing that bathroom, you're sharing the kitchen, you're sharing all those spaces. So sharing the bathroom is a great experience. It teaches really important skills like communicating with your roommate. Creating like a chore schedule, like who's cleaning it what week. It teaches a lot of flexibility too, because it's like, I'm going to give her leniency during her busiest moments and she's going to do the same for me. So overall, the experience was not only positive, but it was also really informative and educational.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I can speak to the traditional bathrooms as well. I lived in soggy Maitland Hall for 2 years, so it's a shared washroom on the floor. Those bathrooms get cleaned twice a day. You're almost never in there at the same time as multiple people. It's one of those where everyone has different schedules. So the bathrooms as a whole were always clean for us, and it wasn't like you were in there with lots of people all the time. It was usually you're in there by yourself and it's very clean, so the bathrooms are not as scary as they can seem to be. Awesome. Okay, so the next question that we got a lot tonight was, were you able to find quiet places to study in your residence buildings?
Yeah, 100%. I was able to do that. My circumstance is a bit unique because I was in Clare Hall, which is Western's all-female residence by demand. So I did find that, at all hours of the day, it was generally pretty quiet, pretty respectful, but there's always study rooms that tend to be available, and that's such a great place to go by yourself, to go with a group of friends. Um, you can go down to the dining hall. Sometimes headphones can be your best friend, even if you like a little brown noise, maybe, while you're really doing your work. But another great thing about residence is its proximity to campus. And that's a really important thing to note because really, Weldon Library, all our libraries are 10-minute walk away. You're just so close to all these different study locations on campus that you can study in residence, you can study outside of residence. There's just many places for you to focus.
Mhm. Absolutely. Awesome. So we're on to our last question that we received tonight. And this is, how did you find your experience as a student leader?
Wow. Okay. So, becoming a student leader, I always say was one of the best decisions I ever made in my entire life. Like, this was such a good choice, for many reasons. But one of them was that the people I met are just the highest quality, the highest caliber of people. They're all people passionate about building community. They're all kind of attracted to leadership roles. They tend to have really strong interpersonal skills. And being with them has inspired me to be better because, they're just so great, so inspiring. And that's one element of why I love being a student leader. I also love um, just the purpose of it. It's really nice to be not only a student sometimes, but also, student staff even. Just having that purpose, feeling that fulfillment from helping my first year students and seeing them grow and connect with the community. That's a really great source of fulfillment for me. Um, and I really enjoyed the flexibility too of working as a student leader because Western has a very like you're a student first kind of policy. And so I know that this is the type of job, the type of role that's going to be extremely accommodating for my academic needs. I would recommend it to everyone. Definitely apply. It's just so great.
Absolutely. I loved all those answers. I was an orientation leader in residence too, and it was one of the best experiences. And at the time, I didn't know it, but it set me on the path to my current career, and I'll always be grateful for that first year Jill who decided to apply to be a SOPH. So if anyone is interested at all in becoming a student leader when you join Western, absolutely, you will find your place and it will start you on an incredible journey. So both Samantha and I absolutely recommend becoming a student leader if that's something that interests you at all. So that was all of our most common questions that we did receive. We got lots more than that, but those were the ones that kind of came up frequently for us. So if you are still looking for any specific information that we didn't answer in the presentation or in our Q&A here, feel free to type them in the chat now. We've still got a bit of time. We'll go in and answer all of those questions for you right now tonight. And then if that's everything that you had, no more questions, then thank you for joining us tonight. Feel free to leave the webinar at this time. And if you are looking to kind of rewind, re-listen to any of that information that was shared with you, like I said earlier, this presentation is being recorded and it will be uploaded on our website. So you can always go back, rewatch, find something if you're looking for a specific date. All of this information is also on all of our websites. So if you wanted to go to the residence website, it's just a Google away. Western Residence, and the first one that pops up will be where you need to go. And if you have any questions for the housing team specifically, housing@uwo.ca is their email. Feel free to contact at any time. If you have any recruitment specific questions, our email is welcome.uwo.ca. So again, we're all here. Feel free to reach out at any time if you have questions. But best of luck to all of you who will be attending post-secondary in the fall. We hope to see you at Western. But other than that, have a great night and have a wonderful summer.
So I'd now like to invite Madeline and Maya to join us for our student panel portion of the evening. Thank you both so much for joining us tonight. So if you two want to give a brief introduction about yourself, maybe what position you hold as a student, yeah, give us a brief introduction.
For sure, I can go
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Madeline. So my name is Maya. I have the pleasure of being a residence don at Saugeen Maitland Hall, so traditional style this year. And I'm in my second year. So last year I had, again, the absolute pleasure of living in Ontario Hall as a first year student. So lots of really fun experience in res.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I'm a fourth year student here at Western. I was an REA this year in Perth Hall, but I've also been a Dawn. And yeah, excited to answer some questions.
Thank you both. So let's get right into the questions. So the first question we have here is what was or is the best part about living in residence from your experience?
For sure. I would say that the best part of living in residence from my experience has been truly benefiting from that community feel. It's been unlike anything I've ever experienced. It feels like you are living in a neighborhood with everyone who's your age and everyone who's having the same kind of exciting points and stressful points as you. So it's just truly that support and the friends that I've made along the way. So definitely unforgettable.
Yeah, I definitely second that. I think the community that I've had in residence has been super valuable, both as a student staff member, but also when I was in first year. When I was in first year, I lived on a living learning community in Elgin Hall, and that was super helpful to have people in my specific scholars program who had the same courses. Like I always tell people that I wouldn't have got through first year physics without my friend Tasnia and her extra help sessions that she would give me in our floor study lounge. So it's just like super valuable, just as connections, but also from an academic help standpoint as well, for sure.
Awesome. Great answers. The next question here, this was a pretty popular one. Do you have any tips or how did you make friends in residence?
I think something that I really made use of in my first year and now have kind of taken into my experience as a Dawn has been the value of events that are going on in the building. So as a first year in Ontario Hall, I remember I was kind of in my first maybe week and my Dawn held like a few different events. I think we had like a movie night, a dodgeball sort of activity, and just keep making sure that I'm going to the event. It's such an easy way to make friends and everyone's in the same boat, kind of looking for people to chat with and hang out with. So that's definitely some how I made some of my closest friends and people I'm still friends with today.
Yeah, no, I think from my standpoint too, those like events in residence are like I think super key. Like I came into residence with like not knowing anyone who was at Western, so really kind of making sure I was putting myself out there. And specifically like a week two is like a great kind of sources of events. Like if so many events every day, even if it's something that you think is like silly, you're like, oh, I don't know if I'd like that. It gives you something to do and something to like, have those get those conversations started with like those people around you, your roommate, to be like, hey, do you want to do this thing together? It like helps you kind of like get those first steps going towards like, making those connections and making those friends that are like super valuable with the people around you in your building. So yeah, no, residence events are always great.
That's awesome. I personally I lived in Saugeen, what was it, 6 years ago now, and I'm still great friends with all of the people that I met on my floor. So you really do make some lifelong friends in residence. So thank you both for those answers. The next question here is how did you find the food choices in your dining halls?
I think that's a really great and I guess important question. As someone who's very picky and who like every week I choose which food I don't want to eat, like whether I choose to be vegetarian or I don't want to eat gluten for a week, and I found that I've had such a great experience with the dining hall, whether it's just the small things. So they have such a variety, it's ever changing, but also a huge sauce selection. Silly things like that really help make the dining experience a lot better and have really helped me. And I'm so picky, it's horrible. So if I can do it, so can everyone else. It's really great.
Yeah, no, I think like there's definitely like a lot of selection like with help too, but I think some of my favorite parts is like there's like certain like customizable stations. Like I was always a big fan of the sandwich like bar in residence. It's almost like your own like Subway, so you can like put whatever you want on like a wrap or whatever. So even if there's like not like the kind of prepared like meal options, you can always like customize something to your own taste. So if you are that picky eater, you can always like know that you have something that you can customize, you can always fall back on. So I always like appreciated that. But also, like lots of the buildings too, always have your own kind of a kitchen style. Like I, for example, was in Elgin, so like if you are a person who like has your own recipes and is like big into cooking for yourself, but you still want to have that cafeteria as the fallback. You can also like kind of gear your selection choices of your buildings, your how you're ranking them towards that sort of option too. So you can prioritize that. Making sure if you want to make those recipes from home and that's like important to you, you can also facilitate that.
Yeah. Awesome. So the next one that we got here was, what is it like sharing a bathroom?
I guess I can speak to that. So last year I was in a hybrid style where I shared with just a few others, and this year, even as a Dawn, I'm sharing with my whole floor. So it's definitely been a really interesting experience. One thing I can say is that I've had a great experience with cleanliness. I've never really had an issue, and also I think there's a lot less traffic than people realize in the washrooms themselves. I've never once been showering at the same time as anyone else. I'm always brushing my teeth by myself. I never really see anyone in the washrooms unless it's maybe like the afternoon or the evening. So that's never something you have to worry about. You never have to worry about, is there going to be a shower available before my class in the morning? Everyone is kind of running on a different schedule, so you never worry about that, and everything's really well maintained.
Yeah, no, in my first year, like I lived in a suite style, so it was like having my own bathroom, just sharing with another roommate. So like I think that was a valuable like learning experience in itself, like having those conversations with my roommate, like how we're gonna clean it, when we're gonna clean it, and that was like valuable too. But I think in my second year, I started being a Dawn, a traditional. I was a bit worried. It's like, oh, I've heard like some horror stories about it, but no, it was like super fine. Like they clean it like way more, like super regularly, like very regular. I don't know the exact schedule off my top of my head, but it's like I was like, oh yeah, like it was never like an issue like cleanliness or anything like that. And like Maya said, it's like always like available. Like for example, like I knew like I kind of would like as much as there's like always showers available, I knew like I preferred to the shower and there was like no one else in the bathroom at all. But there's definitely like times you can like gear it towards like in that like 2 in the afternoon or whatever is my like ideal time where there's like never anyone else there. So if that's something that you want to like there, you can still definitely like have privacy in a shared bathroom, and the cleanliness is like very fine too. Like nothing to be worried about.
So, one other question here we got a few times. Were you able to find enough quiet places to study in residence?
Absolutely. So one awesome thing about I think all the residences at Western have these really great study rooms. And something that I've really enjoyed about them is how like full of natural light they are. I've noticed that in every single building I've studied in. It's always been kind of easy to find a space just because of the volume of spaces that there are available. So whether it's like finding a seat in the caf, which is usually a great place to study, or really gearing towards those study spaces, as well as I've had like the chance to study in my room and kind of coordinate with roommates. Okay, like I have an exam coming up. I really want to study at my own desk. Can we kind of plan some quiet hours for the room? So just things like that. It's really flexible and there's tons of availability for study space.
Yeah, no, I definitely second that about like having lots of study spaces in the buildings. Like that's something that I leveraged when I lived in residence and like I fully enjoyed too. But I think like as well in your room, like I never had issues with it like being like loud all the time. Like, oh, I can't study in my own bedroom. Like that was never an issue. Like if I wanted a quiet space and I knew I would always have my room as a fallback. But like Mel was saying, there's like you are super close to campus as well. So if you like want to go to the library, if you want to go study in like the social sciences building, like that's like a super quick walk away too, if that's the study space that you desire. So that's also something to add and like kind of an advantage of being in residence.
Awesome. Okay, so last question here. And this one is just, do either of you have any kind of final advice or something that you would want to tell someone who's moving into residence this year that you wish someone had told you when you were in that position?
I think the greatest piece of advice that I wish I could go back in time and give to myself is have an open mind. Truthfully, when I got placed at Saugeen as a Don, I was even contemplating not accepting the job offer because I was so scared of using that traditional space. It's something I've never been exposed to before, but it has truly been such an incredible experience. And the bathroom's not scary, the dining hall is not scary. It feels like an adjustment, but it's something that will help you build memories that will last forever. So just have an open mind and be open to that stuff. Even the bad parts of res end up being really fun.
Yeah, no, I think like similar themes for sure. Like I think my core message is there's no like right choice for like the best building. I think it's very dependent on like the factors that matter to you, whether that's like location or style, etc. There's no like clear winner in the buildings. Like you will have like a good opportunity and good connections wherever you go. Like I've heard people who like, for example, get like a choice that's lower down on their list, but then they love it. They're like, oh, this is the best thing that happened to me. I love the vibes in the building. I love the people that I've met. So I think definitely the core experience in the buildings is all going to be the same, and there's nothing to be like worried about. And it's just such a because you'll be able to leverage those connections and like meet those people and have those friends that will be able to last through your whole like degree and like wherever you go. And I think that's super exciting as well.
Yeah, awesome. Those are some great pieces of advice. I love it. So that was all of our most commonly asked questions here that we were going to answer in the live panel. But if you are still looking for any certain information, specific questions, feel free to continue to enter them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen there. And the rest of us will turn our cameras off, but we will be hard at work answering those questions if you do have any more specific lingering questions. But for those of you who do have all of the information you need, you've had all your questions answered, you're excited about residence in the fall. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate everyone being here today, and we hope to see you on campus in the fall. So have a good evening.